Triangle Strategy comes out in just a couple of weeks on March 4th, and I know many of you are just as excited about this as I am, but there are probably others out there wondering what gives with the name Triangle Strategy, and what is this game really about? Today I'm going to be walking you guys through an in-depth preview of the upcoming Nintendo Switch tactical RPG from Square Enix. My name is the Ashen Dragoon, and here on this channel I make videos covering gaming and gaming news with a focus on RPGs. I also make in-depth analysis videos on the games that I really love, so if you do like the video, remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon to get notifications every time that I upload. Links to all of my socials are in the description below. First things first, let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. Yes, the name Triangle Strategy is awful, and so many better names could have been selected. Most notably, they could have just named it the SaltIron Wars, after the conflict central to the plot. In the end, the working title Project Triangle Strategy was turned into the final title, similarly to how Project Octopath Traveler also turned into the final title. While this poor naming didn't hurt Octopath, which sold over 2.5 million copies as of a year ago, a more interesting title surely would draw more eyes and open more minds to playing this game. At the end of the day though, I don't think it's a huge deal, I just think there will be a lot of memeing of the name Triangle Strategy. I think the best way to describe Triangle Strategy is a crossover between Final Fantasy Tactics and Octopath Traveler. The game is being developed by the same team that worked on and developed Octopath, which is easy to tell from the gorgeous HD-2D art style. You don't have to look far either to see the inspiration from Final Fantasy Tactics. Not only does the grid-based combat ooze FFT, but the story packed with warring factions and intrigue also bears a major resemblance. But I think I'll stop with the comparisons there for the rest of the video, because from what I have played and seen of Triangle Strategy, it aims to be and succeeds in being a brilliant game in its own right. We'll start off by discussing the story and why it already has me hook, line, and sinker. The game takes place on the continent of Norzelia, the Kingdom of Glenbrook, known for its trade, the Grand Duchy of Esfrost, known for its iron, and the Holy State of Hyzant, known for its salt, are the three mighty powers that reside on this continent. The prologue lets us know that these nations have been in a constant struggle with each other over resources and power. When war finally breaks out from these conflicts, it was dubbed the SaltIron War. A short-lived peace agreement was ended recently when Esfrost completely blindsided Glenbrook and proceeded to invade and occupy their territory. Smaller houses within Glenbrook's territory are now just starting to mount a counterattack when we are dropped into the story. Just from this scenario laid out before we plunge into the demo, I can tell that this is going to be a fascinating story. Proper motivations are laid out for this conflict. There are three different factions that all have their own goals and ambitions that may or may not conflict with one another. Furthermore, there are minor factions and houses that are also going to play a role, and that really will allow for the plot to become multi-dimensional. The fact that this story is going to be layered and complex is reinforced by the way the story is written. The game takes its time with dialogue to set up the conflicts and motivations for both its protagonists and antagonists. What I like the most though is the fact that the game explores characters' differences in opinions and morals. Sometimes games fall into the trap of making all of your party members feel like a hive mind of do-gooders. However, Triangle Strategy knows that humans are more complex than that, and the attention that is paid to that fact makes the story feel more grounded. We'll get into how this concept is further explored through the game's mechanics a little later on. Our main cast consists of 4 characters: Serenoa Wolfort, a member of a high noble family in Glenbrook; Roland, a younger prince of Glenbrook, and a childhood friend of Serenoa; Frederica Esfrost, princess of the duchy and Serenoa's betrothed; and Benedict, an extremely loyal advisor to House Wolfort. While these 4 may be the main cast, there are a lot of other important allies that play major roles in the story, And as we discussed above, the game does a fantastic job of fleshing out their goals and motivations. There are also so many different adversaries that actually get a lot of screen time through what I like to call meanwhile scenes. They really serve the dual purpose of fleshing out these antagonists while also giving better context to the war on a larger scale. I think the most exciting part about this narrative is that Triangle Strategy allows the player to have a tangible impact and influence on the progress of the story at many key moments. At major crossroads in the story, there will be a point when characters disagree on how situations can be handled. When this happens, a vote is taken, and that will determine how the party will proceed. Before this vote, however, the player is allowed to hear all of the arguments from the party and attempt to convince and influence particular members into voting in a different way. Your success depends on how well you handle these conversations with your various party members, and I think it's a really unique system. We aren't allowed to just straight up make the choice for the party, but we are able to subtly influence events if we are smart in the way we go about it. This is going to lead to many diverging paths and branches throughout the story that are certain to keep replay value very high. It appears certain members may join or leave your cause depending on how things play out in key moments. And from the demo, these are not just minor changes in course. These decisions greatly alter the events that take place afterwards. But I think it's time we get into the combat and discuss that a little bit. To be quite honest, besides Fire Emblem, tactical RPGs really haven't been particularly popular lately. I think that's why it's so refreshing to see a traditional take on the formula. The turn-based grid combat is fairly simple at its core, but many twists have been added to keep it modern. Rather than using MP, an ability point system is used with very unique actions. Ability points accumulate each turn, so there is an extra layer of strategy of knowing when the best time to use your AP is. Besides traditional height advantages, there are also other terrain damage bonuses you can get. For example, using electricity on a target that is in water will deal bonus damage, and this is just scratching the surface of what can be done with the terrain system. There are also some very cool combo attacks to set up using multiple party members that will be crucial to take advantage of. These are usually gained by surrounding or flanking the enemy with multiple different units. I do know there were quite a few people who were disappointed that Triangle Strategy won't have a class system, but I actually don't think it's a bad thing from what I've played so far. Each character feels unique and has a very defined purpose and role within combat. I think it makes the player work more with the tools they are given, rather than just finding the most OP combination of classes. Personally, I also find characters more memorable when they have a set role. It just makes me feel more attached to them when they aren't blank canvases. Furthermore, this will make the characters potentially coming and leaving throughout the story all the more impactful. For my roughly 5 hours with the demo, I was fully engrossed in the combat, and it really had me thinking about the best way to utilize my units to their full potential. With all of the unique abilities to explore, I'm certain I've only scratched the surface. Square Enix has come out and said there will be a hard mode and easy mode added at the full release, so I think that should alleviate any difficulty concerns on either end of the spectrum. After all this discussion about Triangle Strategy, I just want the game to come out now. I know me and a couple buddies are really looking forward to this one, and it truly has the potential to be an excellent, unique, and grounded narrative that allows you to make your own decisions and have true agency in the story. Not only that, it has the potential to be one of the most engaging tactical RPGs we've seen in years from a gameplay perspective. All we can do now is wait for March 4th. But I want to know what you guys think now. How excited are you for Triangle Strategy? What do you think of the name? And have you played the games it draws its inspiration from? Let me know the answer to all of those questions down in the comments below. Once again, if you did like the content, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon to get notified every time that I upload. I've got a video coming up soon on Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origins, so be on the lookout for that. Until next time, thanks for stopping by.